So let's look at the new verb and we can practice some of what we learned with the new verb. To read in Turkish is okumak, okumak. O-K-U-M-A-K.
Okumak.
How would you say I am reading? So what's the first thing you need to do to build that?
I remove the map,
Bravo.
oku, and then I add your.
That's correct. But if you have the option of ior, what other option do you have? Just as if you have the option of im or sin, what other option do you have? You can apply the same logic as before. We have im and we have sin and sun, so we would have ior and
Uor.
uyor.
Uyor.
So what do you get?
Okuyor.
Okuyor.
But how did we get the your?
So this is part of what we are adding to get this present tense that we're building. Actually, just out of interest, I can tell you it comes from the verb to walk, which is yürümek. So actually this ing feeling, the more literal translation of istiyorum, is something like I am wanting. And that ing feeling is provided in Turkish by walking. You don't need to know this, but this is where it comes from. No? So that's our first step
cool.
in building the present. We have okumak, we take off the mak, and then we were mostly adding ior for the verbs that we had before. But we know if we have an ending with I sound, we will also have the U option. Those are the two options we've seen so far, like in im and and sin and sun. So here we would use uyor closer to oku. Okuyor, and that u by itself, okuyor, what does it mean?
It's he, she, it reads.
Exactly. He is reading, she is reading, it's reading. And you're reading?
Okuyorsun.
Okuyorsun. Perfect. What was the word for now? You remember the word for now?
Şimdi.
Şimdi. Good. And the word for why?
Neden.
Good. Neden. So, why is he reading now?
Şimdi. Neden. Okuyor.
Good. Şimdi neden okuyor? But if you want to stress the now, why is he reading now? Then you can put şimdi next to the verb. So how would that be?
Neden şimdi okuyor?
Neden şimdi okuyor? Very good. So we've seen two versions of our endings, no? We saw im or for I'm. We saw sin or sun for you are, you. We also just saw ior and uyor. So what we've seen are two options for our endings, where in fact in Turkish we have four. So we can look at the other two. The word for how in Turkish is nasıl.
Nasıl.
So this is actually a new vowel, this u on the end, this u, nasıl.
Nasıl.
It's spelled N-A-S-I without a dot, L. So in Turkish you get two I's. You have an I with a dot, which is the one that we've been seeing until now in Comic Sin, in Değilim, I'm not, no? And this I without a dot is more like the sound you get in English, no? This the. Like when you say the quickly, the park. It's a very common vowel sound in English. It just doesn't have its own letter like in Turkish. So this presents us with our third option for our endings. So if we say, how are you, for example, we won't use sin with nasıl, but sun without the dot, an I without a dot.
Sun.
So how would you say, how are you in Turkish?
Nasılsın.
Nasılsın. And you'll hear this very often in Turkish. How are you doing? Nasılsın. You might also hear naber, what's up, naber, which is actually ne haber. Ne, we know what it is. What's ne?
What?
Ne is what, and haber is news. So you might also hear that in Turkish. What news? Naber. The word for to do or to make, we said it was yapmak, yapmak.
Yapmak.
Now we know about three of our possible options for our endings. If we want to build this verb, if we want to say I'm doing or I'm making it, we know that we have ior, uyor, and the new one that we just learned, the I without the dot, uyor. So with yapmak, I want you to experiment out loud. I want you to try and decide which one fits better. So just run through the three and see how it feels.
Yapıyor. Yap. Yap.
You can think of the English the. You can think of that vowel sound on the, and then you can isolate it And once you're clear of that then you can transfer it over. So first, to get comfortable and clear with that you think of the English the. You can import the sound. So you can look, we have the sound already in English. No? Say the in English.
The.
Perfect. And then you can import it over. Ior, uyor, the uyor. Again, with the pronunciation, we don't want to obsess over a perfect pronunciation, and my pronunciation in Turkish is by no means perfect. We want to have an understanding of what the differences are, and then just through listening, through exposure, we will get closer to a more native pronunciation. So you shouldn't be modeling your accent on mine either. You should be understanding consciously the differences I'm explaining, and then you can model your pronunciation on the native speakers you engage with or the Turkish you listen to through music or movies or what have you. The thing about sounds is when you make a very conscious effort to reproduce a sound, you tense. You tense, and when you tense, you lose control over all of the subtle differences you need to make in your sound producing apparatus to achieve that sound. So we want to understand these differences consciously and then relax and let them slowly take their effect through our listening. So we don't need to worry about achieving a perfect pronunciation, and not now. But we want to understand that we do have these differences, and Turkish requires us to think about them when we're adding our endings on. So I want you to just experiment out loud. Don't worry about hitting it perfectly. Just experiment. You can say it 5 times if you like.
Yapıyor. Yapıyor. And yap. Yap.
Yeah, and take your time and go back to the. Don't pressure yourself. Go back to the to find the sound, and then go back to the word in Turkish.
I can do it on my own yet.
It's only stress that's blocking you, huh? You need to defeat that. Not through pushing or stressing yourself, but just through taking your time and reclaiming this process, your process. I'll wait. Your. That's it. Only the stress is going to tense the mouth, the throat, all the sound producing apparatus, and of course the mind, and you have a shutdown. So the your. So we can make a test, yapıyor, 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 and find the one we think is closest to the of yap, which one requires less effort to change between the sounds. Yapıyor, yapıyor, yapıyor.
I think the last one.
You're right, it's the last one. So, with the A of yap, we get the I without the dot. Again, we can experiment with the sound to find it, or we can reference another word that we know. We already saw inside the word nasıl, that we have the A and the I without the dot together. Nasılsın? The same with yap, yapıyor. It's a very small difference. But in Turkish, you write that difference. Now, before the language reform in Turkish was written in Arabic script. So actually, these vowels, they weren't even written in Arabic script, these small vowels. So this problem didn't exist, no? But with the conversion over to Latin script, then new vowel letters were actually created, like the I without the dot, to show these differences. We said that we can use to make food like to cook. So what was the word for food?
Yemek.
Yemek, bravo. What are you cooking? What food are you making?
Ne yemek yapıyorsun?
Ne yemek yapıyorsun? And if you wanted to say, what do you want to cook? How would that be?
Ne yemek yapmak istiyorsun?
Very good. Ne yemek yapmak istiyorsun? Very good. Why are you doing it?
Neden yapıyorsun?
Neden yapıyorsun? What was the word for how again?
Nasıl.
That's it, without the dot. Nasıl. How would you say how do you do it?
Nasıl yapıyorsun?
Good. Nasıl yapıyorsun? I'm cooking.
Yemek yapıyorum.
Yemek yapıyorum. Good. What was to take or to buy?
Almak.
Good. I'm taking or I'm buying it.
Alıyorum. Alıyorum.
Great, much better here. Alıyorum.
You're buying it or taking it?
Alıyorsun.
Good. Alıyorsun.